such beautiful reflection. What does the connection feel like? Is it flowing? Is it freedom? Is it fun? What does connection look like with everyone?
Thanks for tuning into the ReMinders podcast. After a little bit of a hiatus, we're back with another guest episode. So today I'm welcoming on my bandmate and dear friend Marielle. So what you just saw was a clip from a show we played last week called Connect the Dots. We played as the Flowers, Marielle and the Flowers. And this was an event, essentially an advocacy for addiction recovery. So really beautiful time, lots of beautiful people, and just overwhelming support. And yeah, it was a really, really great time. So you can see some of the vibes from that clip. So Marielle and I and a few other of our musician friends have been in conversation about building up a music collective and production team and a radio show and a bunch of fun ideas that we're sort of starting to birth. And so we had this sort of marathon of a conversation and decided to top it off with a little cherry on top with more words and made this podcast. So the theme is sort of just circling back to the idea of clarifying the why, finding the why, and the usefulness of doing that, how that's a just such a more solid foundation for motivation and discipline. So I'm sure this will be first of many podcasts that Marielle and I make together. She's a person that has much to say and a head full of beautiful ideas about how to better the world, and through her multifaceted talents. She's an artist, a painter, a musician, obviously, environmentalist, herbalist, just to name a few of her focuses. And I'm sure that we'll have many more conversations to share on the podcast. Definitely give her a follow if you're on Instagram or Facebook or any of that stuff. You can find her at Marielle and the Flowers, see some of her artwork, and stay tuned to the music that's going to be coming out here soon. Let's just kick into it. We start with a brief grounding meditation. So let's take some deep breaths and ground on in, shall we?
I am right where I belong, just singing this song. Won't you join along with your own harmony? It's calling you and me.
Let's ground our hyper asses.
Let's ground our hyper asses, sending codes to the masses. Letting things slow like molasses.
Back to the breath. Just bringing more awareness to the subconscious activity. Let it be a bridge between our conscious mind, our attention, and the subconscious mind that's keeping us alive, keeping us dreaming, keeping us breathing, keeping us living. Some pause in between the inhale before it turns into an exhale. Put a little extra oomph in getting all that stagnant air out of our bodies. Let this be a nice, juicy pause from the autopilot of the mind, of the busyness of our days. Come back to the self, deeply listening and continuing our day with smooth, effective communication to express, to be heard, to find some fun and fulfillment in our flow.
We welcome you, sweet human being of the infinite, to create space for yourself today. Take this moment to really let go everything in your day, anything that's on your mind, to feel your entire body just relax and melt. It's a really beautiful day outside today. This fall has blessed us with many warm, sunny days. So imagine feeling that sun on your skin and it melting into you. Light. Every cell of your being buzzing with vibrant energy as you breathe deeper and imagine roots of a tall white oak with its changing and swaying leaves, the roots going down as deep as you can feel your energy move as you breathe the deepest breaths you've breathed today, even possibly this week, giving oxygen to the parts of your body that have needed it, and giving that relaxation and the time for your mind to truly let go and be present here with us now.
Sweet. Nailed it.
Feeling grounded.
Grounding in, feeling groovy, ready to bloom pretty soon.
Yeet.
Yee. Do you want to see what the cards have to say for our conversation?
I do.
We've been having so much conversation.
We
I feel
have.
like a little check-in from the universe might be a nice checkpoint. See what's been brewing.
Yes. Yeah, this is my first time ever doing a podcast, but I love to talk about all things, especially things that get your mind buzzing and the sparks of conversation that make you really feel something, make you feel. So that's my intention with these cards. The Mystical Wisdom card deck.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out Kara for getting this from wherever she got it.
Thank you, Kara.
It's served us well so far. We got some new beginning and What was the one I drew last night?
Legend.
Legends, right?
Legends.
We got New Beginning and Legends. This morning we got Intuition and Choices. And now we're gonna find out what you got. Did you draw one this morning?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm. Opportunity knocks.
So what do you think? What do you get from that image?
Well, there are two women. I feel like I should.
Yeah, sure.
There are two women looking at an orb. And in the orb there is, looks like a little girl playing a flute. And there's an orb within an orb within an orb. And a unicorn. And a boat. Ship.
A boat ship?
A boat ship.
What's the boat ship doing? Is it coming or going?
That's up for interpretation.
Is it now? Nah.
As is life.
Oh, flute girl. This is cute. Yeah, this is dope. I see this as like the higher, the oversouls, if you will. The ladies kind of looking down at the multi-dimensional reality of the 3D matrix in the dream of reality.
The 3D matrix, I will.
The booklet says new opportunities. Oh, we lost our Sunyata oversoul. Oversoul not pleased. Be funnier. Speak more interesting things. The oversoul says. New opportunities are coming your way. Brilliant ideas, educational possibilities, new friends, expanding your potential, and opening yourself to greater possibilities. You are a good team player and have gained respect from your work colleagues and peers. You have a good reason to feel proud of your achievements and attitudes towards yourself and others. Embrace this new endeavor with this raw creative energy. Go for it. It is time to dazzle yourself and stretch your wings and fly.
Wow.
Mantra, I am open to new possibilities to expand my potential.
Wow.
It feels pretty potent, pretty
That's-
on point.
Yeah, and it says go for it on there. Which
I'm going to try one more time, and that'll be the last time.
but I like that we've had it as a sign I feel like
Yeah.
it's a good sign. You
I
know,
think so.
opportunities
It's
knocking.
Yeah, it's an aho. It's a fucking yay team. I just want Alex Gray to be represented in the podcast, that's all. I just want everyone to see the Sunyata. This is a meditation. This is a yantra. Are you familiar with that word? Yantra? It's like a visual mantra. It's like something that you can look at and like it's a ping into your conscious awareness. So whereas a mantra, you know, they say like your thoughts are all of these different, you know, coalescing ripples in the pond of your mind, and a mantra is like throwing one consistently to sort of like wash out the rest. You know? That's the way
So
mantra's been.
just
that's
the
like a
act of
visual
looking
aspect
at
of
the
it.
visual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it like brings me into the meditative space.
Yeah, I see that.
You were about to say something?
I don't know what I was about to say. But I think talking about this card is a perfect way to start off our conversation, because opportunity, I feel like, has been knocking at us to go for it in a lot of ways, and a lot of creative ideas. And I've really loved the conversations that have been going on for years now about all the creative ideas that we can do and that we can blossom into the world. And one of the things that I can just share, which I've already shared with you, that one of the hardest things that as a creative that is hard for me to do is actually sit down and make music or make art. And that's why community and the figuring out how to support each other in what I've been saying is doing the damn thing. And so I had this experience where I sat down and decided that I was going to just write a song. And I sat down on my bed and I played guitar, and what flowed from me was really powerful. It made me tear up, just the words that I was singing. And then I look outside and it's starting to snow. And then I go, and our roommates, Lucas and Andy, we all go outside, and it's like this beautiful little sleety snow, but the sun's still shining, and there was a red-tailed hawk that like went from the trees, and it was just an affirmative thing where I felt like the universe was saying, yes, just sit down and do the damn thing. And the tendency to procrastinate and be a perfectionist, which are the two biggest things that I deal with as a human, that are the hardest things for me to deal with right now. And I consistently mention my Saturn return, where I do feel like I'm in this phase in life where I'm 28 and I feel like, they say that the year 27 to 29, you kind of are going through your Saturn return, where just the things that you really need to look at in life are going to come up kind of in bigger ways. And so I do feel like the
Saturn
moving forward,
like a big aspect of like discipline and almost like the daddy planet,
yeah,
It's like, so like you're saying, like, do the things that you've been putting off. Look at the shadows that you've been keeping in the closet.
Yep.
Otherwise, they might come out and haunt you or spank you, or
Yeah.
Which might be that can be a catalyst. Like, there's no right way of moving on your path. Like, that's the thing. But if you can, use those opportunities and like as a checkpoint. Not that like it's a prophecy on your life that you're gonna experience something when you're in that age bracket, and like brace yourself. Like mine wasn't all that even really noticeable. I mean, it's kind of just like global pandemic. Didn't feel all that personal, but you know what I mean? But I mean, definitely
huge,
was
yeah.
like shifting energy.
Yeah.
And in that sense was a catalyst for me to like definitely, look at different things, whatever. But yeah, just a checkpoint.
Yeah.
Discipline is such a really potent topic for me right now. Like, I feel like discipline is, I mean, you're talking about astrology, so like my north node is Capricorn. Do you know about your nodes?
Yeah, I think mine's in Libra.
Is it Gemini Corcus? You're just like 90% Libra.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, I can't make decisions all day and nothing.
Yeah.
But
Hey, well, that's why you're drawing in the community and accountability.
right. Because we all have, the different elements, and so I'm trying to figure out how does having so much air and so many ideas, and how, because there's a tendency, especially in astrology, to like look at, some of your aspects as like a bad thing. And,
Or like you're doomed to it, or there's no way to like work with it or shift it, which ultimately we do have that power if we choose to tune into that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can just be helpful to know what our natural tendencies, if we don't put in the intentional, conscious, like, shifting work of rewriting our script and directing the play of our life in a different way, that's going to be the autopilot.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it checks out, like, a lot of times, so it is something to be at least somewhat versed in the language of astrology, I find. But not to a point where it's, like, mapping out my life or, like, tuning in for we were just talking about this morning, every portal day, or, all the eclipses and the retrogrades and all the things. And, it gets super hyped up on TikTok and whatever else on the internet because people want their clicks and their views. So they make everything seem like this is it. This is your one opportunity to ascend into the next dimension. And I was like, bro, we're in all the dimensions. Chill.
Yeah, that's so funny how on TikTok sometimes, like, if I've started to like something, you start to see all the videos of people posting about, like, that particular alignment. And in some ways, I definitely think there's, like, potency to certain astrological alignments. But, like we were talking about, it can sometimes lean into more of a ego space where it's like you have to always be knowing what's going on astrologically, and you base your whole life about that, when it can just be a tool, which is, it's like kind of, sometimes I feel like I'll use my astrology as like an excuse where I'll be like, oh, well, it's just because I'm a Libra.
I've noticed
it's
this about you.
because I'm a triple air sign.
Yeah.
or it's just my Saturn return that everything's falling apart around me. But at the same time, to know that about myself, when I found out that I was a triple air sign, I was like, that makes sense.
When did you find that out? Were you pretty young?
No,
like
I feel
high school or something? Or?
No, I feel like
really?
I feel like I got into like, it had to have just been like a few years ago that I really like embraced. You know, I'd always known I was a Libra, but the moon sign and the rising sign and some of the other aspects of the chart. So
true. Yeah, well, the what I was inserting about the nodes is, I guess, your north node, for anyone that isn't aware, is like kind of what you're trying to master throughout this life. And Capricorn is like, you know, the archetype of discipline and all that. So I do feel like discipline is a huge recurring theme in my life. And I tend to just want to be easy on myself and like go with the flow and keep it easy, you know, whatever. But then you kind of get to a point where it's like, well, if you're only playing in easy mode, then you're only going to get easy mode treasures and loot and your quests. You know what I mean? Like, challenge yourself a little bit, like discipline, harness the skills, and it might be a little bit more fun and fulfilling to, you know, do the things.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to integrate and learn.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. I do feel like society and humans in general probably need a little bit more self-discipline within ourselves, and it's hard. And I also keep bringing up the excuse of like neurodivergence, where I am not diagnosed ADHD, but I definitely fit into a lot of the categories with it. And it's like, I think a lot of people struggle with what to do with our creative energy and what to do with our time. And part of that also, I feel like, is like society structuring. And when we talk about discipline, I think of like working at the organic farm that I've worked at. Like, that takes discipline and care to show up every day and be doing the work for the earth and for keeping plants alive. And I think that it's something to be said about humans needing more of a creative and aligned purpose to have the discipline to continue showing up to that thing, and
even the motivation to stay disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, like when we have a really clear why as to why are we doing what we feel like we should be doing, you know, because that's like the shadow of discipline. It's just shoulding ourselves, like, oh, I should not be in bed when like clearly some aspect of my energy wants to be resting, you know, but we're like shoulding ourselves, like, oh, I should be more disciplined and working harder and making more money and all the things that I feel like there is a toxic disciplinary aspect of American culture and of capitalism culture, for sure, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it's like shaming ourselves doesn't get us to that place, but being real with it, and that's why it's like there's a tendency even within, you know, spiritual outlooks to only follow the thing that feels good, or only, which there's truth to that, but also like, you know, there's mornings where I'd have to get up at 7 a.m. to go to the farm in like 30-degree weather. And did I want to do that? Did I want to wake up in the morning? No.
Yeah.
But somehow getting out of bed and actually being out and being outside, and then, you know, so that part, and, you know, the things that we talk about with wanting, whatever your passion projects are, so you want to create music or you want to create art, how do we like get out of bed and
Yeah.
and make it a priority to do these things? And for me,
long term versus short term really is what it is. It's like what's the time lapse that we're like gauging that by? Is it the time lapse of like what feels good right this moment? In that case, like, no, that's where the discipline comes in, to have the wisdom that like this is actually going to be vaguely painful for a split second, and then in the long term, time lapse it out a little bit longer. It actually does feel good to like exercise and take cold showers and get up in the morning and do something that actually will be fulfilling to your mission.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But go on.
Don't
mean to derail, but
No, I mean, I just love a conversation around discipline and how do we, it goes into cultivating better habits. And I think part of that also is with community and accountability with other people.
For sure. It's where it gets fun too.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's, I was mentioning working out, like exercise and stuff like that. Like, that's a lot more fun to do with other people.
Yep.
You know? Sweating together, just like, there's the accountability, just pushing each other a little bit. My tendency is to slack off a little bit less if there's eyes.
Yeah.
Totally.
And same, now living in a house with roommates, like, I'm less tempted to stay in bed and watch TikTok when I have people around.
Yeah.
So.
Because, like, what are your options are different. It's like I could, be tuning out, or I could be tuning into the other people, and, like, people are interesting. Like, what could we be talking about? Could we be creating together, that type of thing. And, yeah, it just makes things more fun. Of course there's a shadow to community, too. And a lot of people do use community and think of it as just, like, positive, intentional communities. And, like, community's a broad word. Like, there are toxic communities as well, whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just being, like, really mindful about, again, the why. Like, why am I doing the things I'm doing?
Right.
If I'm connecting with people, why am I connecting with people? Is it because we have, like, things to create and learn together? Or is it that I'm escaping myself and I'm actually, like, avoiding my shadow by just distracting myself with, you know what I mean?
Right.
The company of just distracting from loneliness and stuff like that.
Totally. Yeah, and I think it's getting clear on what we want to do, because we've talked about, humans getting together and making the most of that creative energy. And it is nice when you get together with your friends and you just are like, let's just hang out, let's just be.
Sure.
And that's medicine in and of itself, and we need
Absolutely.
more of that. People just need to get together, as raw humans and just like be chill with not having to create anything or do anything special with their time or energy.
That's a good point, too, for sure.
But I also think that when humans get together, there is a potential for creative momentum and what humans also we've got to look at is like the stuff that we really need to get done, which I do have this feeling that like we have it pretty easy right now, like not kind of sorta we're not providing for ourselves in a sense of, we've talked about what the dynamic will look like if we as a society started providing more for our own needs rather than having corporations provide everything.
Mm-hmm. That we have to sacrifice our time and invest our lives into earning the spoils of corporate labor and,
Right. And
creating this whole middleman between our survival.
Yeah.
Which creates so many issues, of connection. It's an issue of connection. We don't feel connected.
Yeah.
To the things that are sustaining our survival. Like, classic example I like to use is like when people eat meat, ask a little kid, like, where do hot dogs come from? They're like, the grocery store. They're like, yeah, but how did they get there? Like, what is that? Like, we have a total disconnection from the fact that that was a sentient being that had to be, sacrificed. Mm-hmm. Which is, I don't think that's innately immoral or anything like that, but the ways that it is done is definitely
with
negative. Its impact on the planet and the impact on species of animals and the impact on humans who are consuming, the cortisol of this meat that's just been in suffering and not in sunlight and not in like its natural flow. Like that can't be positive sustenance, just that's just one example.
Right. The whole, in the whole food system as a whole, which is something I've been saying recently, is that I don't think that food should be a commodity at all. I think
A commodity.
in a sense that
it's
sold. I think it should be something that the entire community comes together to provide for ourselves. And if we did that, talking about discipline, like I don't think we realize how, I don't even know what that would look like. My idealistic and heavenly hope for what that looks like is that it would be easier than what we're currently doing, because everything we're doing right now is ass backwards from the natural systems of the earth, and is not in an abundance mindset that's aligned with
Excuse me.
bless.
Thank you.
That's not aligned with the earth.
Right.
So
And the scarcity of the
I
dog eat
would
dog
like to
competition.
think it's still going to take, it's good, but I do think it's going to take a lot of work. But the thing is for discipline, I think if you have a big enough reason as to why you're doing something, and that's why it's like, if you are when it comes down to survival, which we are moving into a space where it is kind of becoming that in a good way, where it's like we need to take our power back to sustain ourselves, and the act of doing that is going to be can have the potential of being something really incredible, because growing your own food and being connected to the sources of where your food comes from is like such a huge way of having community and feeling amazing in your body, getting the workouts that you need just by being. So
Yeah.
I'm for the movement of all of us growing our own food, all of us, because we've had the conversation a lot before of like, and there's so many people right now that want to go off with all their friends and live in a community, which I do want to do with all of our friends and have that experience of what it's like to really be in community and provide. But the greater community of all of us can come together. Ourselves are only as healthy as the whole of everyone, and this time that we're in is very serious, but can have seriously beautiful blooming solutions.
Yeah, so just to clarify, like what that why is like it's what is it to you? It's that the earth is we're abusing the planet, we're abusing ourselves, we're abusing all of our food sources, even the produce that we consume and commodify, are like not in their highest health either. Like you said, the health of an individual is also the health of the collective, only as healthy as the collective. And part of that community is the community of plants, the gardens of plants and animals that we're collaborating with and, sacrificing lives to sustain lives, whether that be plants or animals. Like that, it is a sacrifice of something that's living, and choosing to collaborate with it in that sense. And I think part of that collaboration is like when we are planting and foraging and harvesting, and a part of the seed planting process, literally just by like touching seeds, we're sort of implanting our chemistry with them. And so isn't that true? Like that on a physiological basis, like the food is going to be more nourishing for us because it interacted with our biology. I've heard like if you like put a seed in your mouth and then plant it,
It knows your DNA.
yeah, which sounds super woo, but I don't know, I heard this thing about how like someone who, I don't know if they had epilepsy or something, but someone who was using medical cannabis, they did a test where like they used plants that were just grown in the usual setting, whatever, and then they had another plant that was like watered with water that, like, bath water of the person using the medicine, and that plant was like just busting with like extra spirals and just like that much more like radiant of a plant. The other one was like great too, normal stuff, high quality, but that one was just like, and then the way that they consumed it, it like went so much further, and keeping their condition at bay. I don't remember the exact situation, but wild.
It is wild.
It's super wild.
Yeah.
Like, that makes no sense to the way that we relate to science and botany through the American educational system. Like, that's not a component of what we learn about how nature interacts with itself and collaborates with itself, Mm-hmm. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
So
it's magic. I think that I feel so much that we've just only scratched the surface of the potential and the magic of what Earth can provide when we are fully reciprocating and being in connection with the Earth. And all the gardens that I've grown, even this past year at One Earth Collaborative, like, it was a garden that we just came together to tend together, and it wasn't for producing for money, just whoever's there. We're sharing meals together, we're cooking meals together, and I had such a like huge realization of like I was making like compost tea and so happy, like people are in the garden and we're singing songs around a fire, and I the intention always is that those plants feel that and hear that and are growing to that frequency that of medicine. It makes me want to grow like the most nutrient rich, medicinal, loved plants, and then to put that into your body. And that's why I do feel like growing our own food, everyone at least growing something, because when you've grown it and you have a bite of it, and because I'm also not a huge salad person, like I don't feel like, talk about accountability and discipline, like actually sitting down and eating a salad I do not do often. But if I'm in a garden and I'm just eating random veggies,
then you don't need to make time and space for a salad in your diet if you're already consuming the herbs and plant fiber that you need. It doesn't have to be in a bowl with salad dressing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I actually recently heard too about like something about that drums being such a deep frequency, low frequency, that you're hitting these drums and it's like radiating these low hertz frequencies that are like reaching into the soil and like activating mycelium and stuff like that. So like that helps grow the gardens even more so when you have that level of like community drumming and just the way the multi-layered, it's all connected, like, so it's pretty wild. I don't remember who told me that, but
well, I think all of it, and as woo as it may sound to want to like drum to your plants and put the seeds in your mouth, like it's there is absolute truth and power to what plants are, living beings. And I think the biggest thing that excites me and gets me like just ready for that is that still gives me hope in our world, with the incredible amounts of destruction and devastation happening. Like, we have to do something, but I stand on the fact that I do think that all the solutions are very connective and joyous and beautiful in taking our power back to grow food as community, and that Earth is just waiting for us to say, we are ready, we are open, we are listening to what you have to teach us. Because for so long, her voice has been silenced. It's been made out that that Earth isn't even a thing, that it's not even alive. It's just this thing that can be treated however we want to treat her. And there's ancient knowledge within the plants and ancient healing within the plants where I want to believe that and begin to want to take the action steps to really see. And I've already seen it in the gardens that we've grown and in the community that's just been when we're all out in nature and together, that healing that needs to happen for humanity can really happen through the plants and through our co-creation and our opening up to the earth has the answers we need, and we just need to listen and to really be disciplined in taking the action steps. And what the crazy thing about it is like, because I'm such an air sign, it's hard for me to like ground things, but every time I've grown a garden, I'll cast seeds and who knows what will grow, but every single time the things that grow are perfect, and people may not think that they're good at it or they don't know where to start. And it's like, you literally just have to dig a hole and put a seed in the ground. If some of it dies because you forget to water it, whatever, it's like, but
you learn. That's how you learn, is by doing it. And
yeah,
of course there's more advanced techniques that you can implement and learn.
There's more grounded
as you get into it, you're gonna come across those people who will help guide and steward in that way.
That's why I grow flowers, because they're drought resistant and they
and they're
and pretty and herbs. But I will say I'm a fan of flowers, not just because of the aesthetic, that I feel the healing energy of flowers, and that's a whole other separate podcast about
podcast for sure.
How to talk to flowers, for
sure.
Yeah.
Well, you said that it's magic, and I just wanted to say, like, it's nature. Nature is magic, and that's what science is trying to understand the magic. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's woo until we understand it, and that's what real science is like taking it to the field, like. Just not accepting something because you're not already familiar with it is just ignorance, Like, try it out. Like, try these things out and see what works. And that's how you're really going to learn about truth and about magic, is by trying things out and seeing what flows and what sticks and what you can learn from experimentation, And as far as the why for grounding our discipline, like, there's so many reasons why, like the health of the planet, the shadow of capitalism that we're all going to be that we're all facing right now. We all know it. The mental health stuff, the emotional wellness stuff, the disconnection, the isolation epidemic, blah, 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 blah. There's all these, pick one. Yeah. Pick one problem and be a solution to it. Mm-hmm. That's the why.
Yeah.
So we've got like a bunch of problems we're trying to be the solutions of. So like we're grounded it into a whole thing. We're getting a garden of solutions, of blooming solutions. Mm. But as individuals, just every day, even just on a daily basis, doesn't have to be a life mission today. What's something I can be a solution to? Mm.
Yeah. And whether it be your life individually,
right,
or the collective. Exactly. But it's also just like, and that's what I feel like the awakening calls for, why it's so important to like find that gratitude. Even though I say that, and it's not like I wake up every day trying to find it. It's actually really hard but when you can tap into the fact that this moment is a miracle, that we are spinning on a planet that is a miracle, that every waking breath we are alive is a chance to be an infinite creative being of your wildest potential. Like we were talking about living your life as a movie, that what would you, if your life today, waking up was a movie, how would you go about it? And what would you do differently if this was your opportunity to make the most of the day and make it into a movie? And I think that people need some hope out there, mm-hmm. because people are waking up, and that's why, we all need to quit our fucking jobs and stop and figure out how we're going to phase out of the system in the way that it is, and provide for ourselves in the ways that are joyous and creative and give us that passion and drive to wake up every morning because we have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And not that everybody's, for me, the purpose, what I could really get behind not only is like standing up for the earth and tending the earth every day, but it's like to make it so that future generations can have the most incredible life on this planet, to, you know, work together as communities to figure out how, when a new soul comes onto planet Earth, I think the major mission for all humanity is how to figure out how to make the experience of being human here as
worth doing.
worth it and beautiful.
Safe.
Like it's
And fun.
yeah. I mean, we've obviously chosen to come into lives where it's going to be painful as fuck, and we're going to get a lot of growth from it. But evolution, we were talking about, like, I think we pretty much maxed out where I think we've gone through enough pain and suffering as humanity to decide that we would like to move out of the duality and back into oneness, which is the experience of life that's so thrilling for existence, to be able to go into the depths of darkness and come out. Then you really know what the light is. And so through all of these painful experiences that we're having as humans, we need to step up to say, we know that we can have an incredible life if we start disciplining ourselves to working towards it.
Yeah. To choose to, like, really embody our worth. And that's part of the toxic programming, is so many people feeling like we aren't worthy of our desires, worthy of being here and taken care of, and being someone who takes care of things, you know. Just, there's so much of it, and it's marketing, it's propaganda of all sorts that's keeping us in these belief systems that we are weak, and that it doesn't matter if we're here or not, you know. And it's like, this, we do each have the gift of being in our particular life, whether you want to call that hardcore reality, whether you want to call that the dream of existence, whether you want to call that being in the simulation, whether you want to call that the movie of your life, you know, however you relate to it. These different filters or viewpoints of relating to it each have, like, values to it. Like, the value of, like, looking at life as a movie or as a dream or whatever is, like, as a movie in particular, is like, what character do you want to play? You know, you don't have to, like, regurgitate this script that was written by generations of oppressed ancestors who, you know, just had to have these sort of ideas just to get by, just to, like, survive. And what you're saying is, like, I feel like true of every generation, every, you know, those who are making stuff happen, is like, it is in the pursuit of making a better world for tomorrow. And, like,
for some people, for, like, society in general, it's definitely, that's
maybe
not
misguided. I mean, even the
Right.
technology and the luxuries, you know, that was with the idea that this is going to make life easier. You know, even, you know, we have
but
a
life
ton
easier
of poverty,
for
but, like,
capitalism, like the Industrial Revolution and things like that.
don't get me
like,
wrong,
if
there's corruption in it, and
Right.
it is making it easier for, like, a few, and then using the rest as, like, but even still, even the workers and we have a ton of poverty, and, like, you know, people are struggling, but the impoverished in America in 2023 live better than kings of 500 years ago, you know. So we have been, like, progressing in different domains. We may not value those domains as much as, you know, maybe our ancestors who created those systems or whatever,
Right.
but that's part of the evolution, you know. And that because a lot of our survival physical needs are met, we have the luxury and privilege to even have the time to think about the things that we're thinking about.
Yeah.
And to have time to get lost in the shadow and move through the shadow, to catalyze that, and not to be in the shadow as a victim, but to remember that we are the creators of existence. And so we didn't create these obstacles for ourselves to punish ourselves, to victimize ourselves. It's here as a catalyst for growth, as the soil is the darkness of a seed, and it needs to germinate and find a way to the light out of this muck. You know, that's what our
mission is.
that's what our darkest hours and rock bottom is all here for, is to, like, propel us forward and amplify and accelerate that growth, you know. Well, we are on a time crunch, unfortunately, so let's...
Opportunities knocking, people!
I think I want to pull one more card. Since you pulled one, I want to pull one.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe we'll use it as a prompt for a quick jam.
Yeah!
Thoughts? You want to play some ukulele?
Sure.
Did you bring it?
No.
I thought I did. I did.
Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation of lucid living. My name's Marielle McIntosh, and this is my first podcast. It's been so fun!
You have a last name?
I do. People think it's Anne the Flowers, which it kind of is, because when you're talking to me, you're also talking to flowers. As is everybody, because when you're talking to everybody, you're talking to all things.
What if you legally changed your last name to The Flowers?
Middle name Anne.
Yeah, exactly.
But stay tuned we've got some good ideas cooking, some good opportunities knocking for ideas of radio station. So come collaborate with us and give us input on what you want to hear and see, and what opportunities are knocking, and what things in your life should you just do the damn thing and go for it and create, because you are an incredible divine creator.
Thank you, Marielle, for that beautiful interlude commercial while I tuned up. Don't forget to
This
smash
has been brought
that
to you
like
by
button.
Blooming Solutions Incorporated.
And the Dragonfly, to live life to the fullest. Look at that. That's a beautiful image. Bless up.
Bless. Opportunities knocking. Dragonfly. Sing and live life to the fullest. Ask yourself why. The dragonfly lives near water and represents the ability to be emotionally strong and flexible. It is one of the only creatures that can fly up, down, sideways, and backwards. Living your truest life is a responsibility. Discipline. Do not let it be trivialized, or lived superficially. The dragonfly is a symbol of knowing who you are and what you want. Make informed decisions and live life to the fullest without regrets. I am emotionally strong and live my life without regrets. And get your body moving and grooving, because you got stuff to do today. You're an infinite divine being of source potential, and the earth is calling you to make life awesome for all the future generations of all that is. And you have the answers. You know the answers. You're just procrastinating because you're scared shitless. Because I'm scared shitless. I don't want to make movements on anything because I'm so darn scared. So, even if you're scared, even if you feel like you're gonna poop your pants, just do something magical today. Live your life like a movie. Take yourself to the movies. Lucid living.
After that big, beautiful run-on sentence, that was how you
That's what
exclamation
lucid.
marked it.
That's what lucid
Yeah.
living is. It's waking up.
Yeah, no, it was
In the dream.
Yeah. Well, apparently, even if you want to poop your pants, just keep going. You're always gonna find a spot to let it go. Just be in the flow and just keep talking. You don't gotta know necessarily where it's gonna go. Just keep on sliding into that flow. Because apparently,
Life is like a roller coaster ride. There's gonna be ups, there's gonna be downs. But just enjoy the ride.
and if you gotta poop,
It's okay. We're
'Cause
all
you're on a roller
scared
coaster.
shitless. Anyway.
just let it go. It's gonna fly where it needs to land.
It's gonna build some beautiful compost that we can all plant flowers in.
Yeah.
Because, you know, all beautiful things come from the shit of darkness in the soil.
Then with that said, thanks, Marielle.
Yay, thanks, Sean.
Bye.